This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
You're listening to the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. And now, here's your host, Lisa Rangel.
Welcome and hello. Welcome to the 10th episode of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. I'm Lisa Rangel, host of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast and the founder of Chameleon Resumes. We are an executive resume writing, LinkedIn profile writing, job search consultancy firm. We help executives and rising leaders land their next position faster. And we're going to address today how to avoid ageism on your LinkedIn profile and make your profile ageless. I'm excited to be here with you today to share with you this information, since what I want for you is to be evaluated on your achievements and not simply because of your seniority. When you rely on your recent achievements, you're closer to achieving what is the dream of every job seeker: to create demand for your skill set and for recruiters to find you. And when you have demand and recruiters calling you regularly, you don't have to worry if your company changes gears on you. You will always be ready. You will have demand for your skill set. You will be current. Age won't be an issue any longer. What I cover with you today, you will be able to reinforce with our LinkedIn profile cheat sheet, where you can download that at linkedinprofilecheatsheet.com. Applying our lesson today on how to avoid ageism and using the cheat sheet to write your profile will help you stay marketable to your network, which is one of the many ways to have job security in today's economy and proactively take care of your career. In past episodes, we talked about the only way to truly protect yourself from job loss is to pretend you're fired today and make a list of the activities that you would do to find your next job. Always having this list in the works, having your resume and profile ready, your network primed. This is the best path to always be working, have career continuity, and not have gaps between employment. As we said in episode 1, the first thing on that list is dusting off the resume, getting it up to speed. And we covered in the following 7 episodes how to format the resume according to today's trends for maximum impact. And now we're going to continue to focus on the other equally important document for you to maintain, that being your LinkedIn profile. In the last episode, we walked you through many of the crucial points covered on our LinkedIn profile cheat sheet. And today, we're going to continue that and cover how to avoid ageism on your profile. I want to start by giving you some of the stories that have motivated me to cover this topic with you today and to really help you shift your mindset as to how you think of ageism. The majority of the clients we work with are between the ages of 45 and 65. And I hear this word ageism a couple of dozen times a week from clients. I'm the expert moderator for LinkedIn's Job Seeker Premium Group, and I hear ageism cited as the reason for job seekers experiencing lackluster results in their job search all the time. I hear the frustration and pain experienced by job seekers day in and day out. Job seekers say to me comments like, employers want to hire a 20-something-year-old with the experience of a 50-year-old at the price of an 18-year-old. Or another comment that I'll hear is 45 is the new 65 and no one wants to call me because of it. Or another sample of a comment that I hear is, I can see the HR manager's shoulders slump down when I walk in, knowing that they realized I'm older than I sounded on the phone. I mean, this pain is real. Ageism in the job search is real. The age-related rejection, real or perceived even, is debilitating to an otherwise competent job seeker across the globe. This is a universal problem. So what are you supposed to do if you believe ageism is a problem in your search? I mean, what are you really supposed to do? It's not like you can change how old you are, right? Are you supposed to just give up and throw in the employment towel? Yes, you cannot change how old you are. And no, absolutely not. You are not giving up. No way. What you are going to do, I say, is to accept this as a fact. If you were in battle, you would assess the power of your enemy and devise a plan around it, right? You wouldn't just walk around whining about your opponent having certain powers or advantages over you, correct? You would accept it, no matter how daunting, and see how you can overcome it. Yes? So do the same thing here. Assume ageism is your enemy, that it's your opponent. I want you to assume that you will experience age bias. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying this is okay. I'm just saying assume it will happen. All right. Assume it will happen at some point in your search. But I don't want you to assume ageism is the reason for everything that's negative that you might be experiencing in your job search. This is not true nor wise. But I want you to assume it will happen and accept it. Now that you've accepted it, now what? We're going to face it and address it head on. All right. So assume experiencing ageism is a business situation that you're going to encounter here and there. Like with any hardship that happened at work, it's a business situation that needs a plan to tackle it. So what's your plan anticipating that it may happen? Here are some ideas. All right. So now we're getting to the plan. So here you go. First, don't lead with your chin. Over and over again, I see job seekers complain about experiencing ageism in their search. And then I look at their profile, and it most often starts with over 20 years experience. I mean, if you want to be hired on merit, start with merit. If you don't want age to be a factor in a hiring decision, don't lead with age or seniority. It's that simple. When I read the statement, I have over 25 years of experience, when I read that statement in somebody's profile, I picture this pigeon-chested, overinflated executive resting on his or her laurels and looking backward at everything they accomplished. And I'm not saying don't be proud of what you've done, but you can't always be looking backward. Companies want to hire leaders who are looking forward, regardless of their age. Organizations want to hire those who view their most recent accomplishments as a mere memory. Again, you can be proud of it, but it's a memory. It's in the past. And they want someone who's hot to move on the next huge accomplishment. Don't be the person that's stuck pontificating about your past accolades. You want to show the future and emulate the future in your discussion points. Next, don't use the phrase seasoned executive. I see this often, kind of makes me chuckle because it makes me think of French fries. I love my French fries seasoned. So, enough said here. Don't use this phrase. Again, to kind of piggyback a little bit on the last point, companies want to hire the best level experience. So don't bring your age into the mix and then be disappointed if it's inherently used against you, right? Hiring managers are human. So don't use this funny term denoting age and then get upset if it's used against you and you don't get a call. The next point here, refrain from using a dated profile format. Profiles written 7-8 years ago were written in a very stuffy third-person voice, up until maybe even about 3-4 years ago. In the last couple of years, it's shifted. The current way to write profiles now is a personable first-person voice. You're always still business appropriate, but hiring managers want to see your personality. Your profile is not to be as formal as your resume. Think LinkedIn is like the business casual element, right? So when you have a lighter approach and you're not always so stuffy and formal, you're going to come across more modern. And when you come across more modern, it's a little bit more ageless. And lastly here, don't have task-driven statements. Don't just state your areas of responsibility. This also is a dated tactic for writing career documents. It's a dated tactic for writing not only profiles, but resumes as well. So you want to use achievement-based language throughout your summary and experience sections. You want to show promotions, you want to show accomplishment, you want to show context for all of this positive movement. Objectives focusing on what you want are the kiss of death. You want to make sure that you speak of not only what you want, but what the employer needs, what they're going to get if they consider hiring you. Frankly, most hiring managers, they don't care necessarily what you did. They want to know how well you did it, because everybody's saying they're doing the same thing. Everybody's profiles are saying they're doing the same tasks. The ones that set themselves apart are those that use achievement-based language and show how well they did each of those tasks or areas of responsibility. When you write your profile in this manner, you will come across, again, more modern. You will see how achievements can be written into your profile when you download our LinkedIn profile cheat sheet at linkedinprofilecheatsheet.com. So what I find that gets construed as ageism is more often using a dated practice. So if you use a dated practice, people are going to just think you're dated in your work. If you're using a modern practice, people don't think you're dated. So dated sometimes gets misconstrued as ageism. But if you're using dated practices and you're being labeled as dated, that's not necessarily ageism. I've seen younger individuals not be current on their practices, and whether it's social media or their resume or whatnot, they don't come across current. So not being current isn't necessarily ageism. I mean, think about it this way. If you had a telephone repair person come into your house to fix your phone, your landline even, but they ask you where your rotary phone was, I mean, you would think they have dated skills. So being dated doesn't necessarily mean it's ageism. So when you use modern LinkedIn practices and modern practices throughout your branding, for your professional persona, you come across as modern, you come across as contemporary, and age or being dated doesn't come into the mindset. So when you stay focused on achievements and you stay focused on modern tactics, you will be perceived in the right light. Don't focus on seniority, and be sure that you're not using dated tactics, because when you focus on seniority and you're using dated tactics, you're just going to be construed as being dated. And again, that's not ageism. So just be aware of what you can control. You can't control how old you are, but you can control how you put yourself out there. So bravo to you for tackling this tough subject and writing this profile before you need it. And if you're currently not working, I really don't want you to be upset or worried. I want you to know that now you know what to do, and starting today, you can make your profile stronger. So let's take action on today's episode. I want you to download our cheat sheet at linkedinprofilecheatsheet.com and start comparing your profile to that sample that I have for you to use. You're going to also get other points to incorporate in your profile that we actually covered a number of them in the last episode, and there's more on this cheat sheet. So you'll have the sample from the LinkedIn profile cheat sheet to compare your profile. And there I want you to notice what's similar between your profile and the sample. What are you doing right? And then notice what's missing on your profile versus the sample, and fill in those gaps. And bring the LinkedIn profile cheat sheet with you for the next episode. I want to be able to show you how to find and use keywords in the profile, and this way it will ensure hiring managers can find you. The next few episodes of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, we're going to continue to go through a list of tactics and activities to do now, as if you were let go today, to ensure you're always ready for whatever the world brings your way. And the first item on that Pretend You're Fired Today list was a resume, which you can review in the back episodes. In our next episode, we're going to continue with our second item on the list, the LinkedIn profile. My friend saved me with her priceless advice, pretend you're fired today, and start doing what I would do to find a job while I was working. And I'm so grateful to her, and I'm paying it forward with you. And I ask you to pay this sentiment forward to others. Share it with as many executives and professionals who you feel would benefit from this build it before you need it advice. And to get a jump on this second item on this Pretend You're Fired Today activity list, which is get your profile ready, go to linkedinprofilecheatsheet.com and download the freebie sample there. So this way you'll know how to write your profile easily. And in the next episode, we're going to tackle how to incorporate keywords properly on your LinkedIn profile, which will make hiring managers find you more easily. So thank you so much for joining me today, and we will pick up again in the next episode.
This is the podcastfactory.com.